Hello, my name is Mercury, and welcome to this brand new episode of Media Buffet. Today, I'm alone and I'll be discussing Dragon Ball, the first saga of the first series. Uh, yeah, okay, so there's a lot of things I need to discuss before we get into this. First of all, this thing was for retro episodes, and yeah, retro episodes, I don't think I need to introduce those, but this was specifically made for retro episodes. And because I was looking through the list of episodes that we had suggested in our private in the podcast private Discord, and I saw that the I think it was the old owner, the old host of the podcast, Pee Wee, he's just said like Dragon Ball, and I took it as like, fine, like maybe they'll do, like back then we were more open to doing just episodes on entire franchises. However, he's since left, so I just kind of left up to pick up to see what he meant with Dragon Ball. So yeah, there's that, and I just said we make Dragon Ball, yeah. So yeah, it was Pee Wee who said to make Dragon Ball, and it's for Dragon Ball, yeah. So yeah, Dragon Ball is something that was suggested way long ago in the podcast, and we just never got around to doing it because there's a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff in the podcast that we needed to do instead. So yeah. Anyways, why I started to do this? Well, I was running out of things to do for retro episodes, so I looked at the stuff that we did have right there. And I saw that Dragon Ball was one of them, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll do Dragon Ball. I've never watched it before, so I'll get into it, and I'll start off in with the first series. However, I saw that the first series is divided like 300 different ways. There is no, that's an exaggeration, but there is the Toei sagas, which are only 5, which is how most of like the shows presented a lot, and like streaming services and all that stuff, except for Crunchyroll, which has just all 153 episodes as one season. And there's the Funimation sagas, which are divided into 9, which that's what I'm using. I'm going in Funimation order, not Toei order, and there's a very good reason for that. First of all, it's what was presented to me in Funimation, on Wikipedia, which I know probably shouldn't be using Wikipedia. So yeah, that's what I used. And also, generally speaking, this gives me, one, more episodes to do on Dragon Ball so I can milk the shit out of it. And 2, it gives me more time to sort of digest everything instead of just like doing five episodes and all of them be like 30 I have to watch like 30 episodes of a fucking series, like I can, like, at least here I can digest it easier than if I just were to watch the entire show in 5 different sittings. Now, sure, it's 9 seasons, like it's 9 of these, so I understand that it seems like a lot, but I don't know. I feel like it's better for both longevity and also for just for it all, and this is only gonna happen for this specific show, and then Dragon Ball Z is the other one that has 9 seasons. But Dragon Ball, I'm gonna be fucking for you guys. We're gonna be in Dragon Ball Z for like a while because Dragon Ball Z not only has the 9 seasons, but also has the movies, and it's like what I think like 13 movies, some shit like that. Like it's an insane amount of movies. So yeah, we'll be with Dragon Ball Z for a very very long time. But yeah, no, just wanted to say that, and also this is my first kind of like big anime I'm watching. I've never been one to watch big anime. I've seen like I can name most of the anime I've seen off the top of my head. I've seen this, but I've also premiere date. I've seen Ultraman. I used the first 2 seasons of Ultraman. I've seen the first season of Demon Slayer. I've seen Killer Kill. I've seen BNA. I've seen Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Some other stuff here and there. Pacific Rim: The Blood. Does that count? I think it does count. No. I think that's American, right? I'm being stupid. Pacific Rim. Japanese American. Whatever. I don't know what I counted as, but yeah. Anyways. I this is my first kind of like big anime, so and I know that there's a lot of ways you can get into it. Instead of just kind of having instead of just going in one direction, some people start with Dragon Ball Z, and some others just started different ways. I remember the podcast at Seed. I know he mentioned that he didn't know where to start with Dragon Ball. So yeah, and he wanted to that was before even the podcast started. But he mentioned how he wanted to start Dragon Ball, but didn't know when to start. So he just he got lost. But yeah, I'm currently starting with the first season, at least going in Funimation order. I'm not sure how controversial that is. I used to the Dragon Ball community, but I'm not here to fucking I'm not here to really appeal to them. I'm just saying that I don't know how many people go in this order, and this is just for me, just for it to be simple and just again to have more episodes of Dragon Ball, but mainly just for it to be more simple. I mean, this first season was 13 episodes. That's not that bad. Season 2 is 15, 3 17, 4 12, 5 11, 6 is again 15, 7 is 18. 8 is 21, and then 9 is the longest at 31 episodes. I have not watched a 31 episode season at any point in time. I'm going to have to eventually watch like a lot of fucking things because, fun fact, Dragon Ball Z is not like this at all. Also, for the record, I'm going to be watching the original. I know we're not going to get to Dragon Ball Z in a long time, but I want to at least get out of the way. I'm not going to be watching Dragon Ball. I'm not watching Kai. Not because I don't want to. I mean, it's because it's kind of because I don't want. It's not because I don't want to. It's because I have a task. Dragon Ball Z Kai, for those who don't know, is a remaster of Dragon Ball Z, which cuts a lot of the filler, has better animation, and all that stuff. I will not be touching it. I want to experience Dragon Ball Z as it aired, as it came out. So, yeah, it's going to be. So you may think that I'm going crazy. Maybe, maybe I am. I don't know, but I'm going to be watching all 291 episodes from 291 episodes from Dragon Ball Z not the Kai episodes. Oh yeah, yeah. It's that's what I'm doing. But yeah, for Dragon Ball, I'm gonna be watching all 153 episodes. So it's not the long. It's one of the longer things we definitely covered here. But it's kind of it's good. It's up. It's I think Ruby's still the longest. This is gonna be rivaling Ruby pretty much. At least for now, really. Not to get into Ruby a lot, but Ruby is what is currently 9 seasons or 9 volumes. We have a 10th one probably under Viz at some point in the future, I would think. With some other stuff here and there, I am planning to watch Ice Queendom for the podcast, and then also the thing. So there might be, I don't know, there might be more Ruby, more Dragon. There's definitely gonna be more Dragon Ball episodes than Ruby episodes, but like I think, like lengthwise, I think Ruby will definitely be the longest thing we ever cover, because that is I can't believe I watched 9 seasons of that. That is insane. 9 seasons. Anyways, yeah, Dragon Ball. Just kind of to want to get those out of the way of how I'm watching this show, because it's kind of like my first time really delving deep into an anime this long. This like overarching with different sagas and different ways to approach it. Just this is the way I'm approaching it, and I just wanted to let you guys know that before we get into the episode. So yeah, no. Also, to be completely and utterly fair, I I am watching this. I watched the first 2 episodes dubbed, because I was watching them on my Nintendo Switch and I did not see the Japanese option, and I was very bummed out, because when I went on my phone for Crunchyroll, I saw the Japanese option. It's like, why the fuck was it not here? I was like, okay, what the fuck? I have to do something like that. I have to just fucking watch it in dub, I guess. But nope, I didn't need to. And also fucking hell for the episodes. They're only there's like 2 minutes of opening of the opening and of the credits. I don't know why that's fucking necessary, but yeah, that's a thing, which really pissed me off. Because I don't know, like when I first watched the series, when I started watching the series, it's the first episode. I'm like, God damn! I wanted to watch the opening, because whatever, I might as well. But when I sat down and watched the opening, like, God, this opening's super long. And then when I checked, it's a minute 50. And it's like, no opening needs to be a minute 50. What the fuck? Anyways, that's not really it. That's not really taking points out of the series for that. It's just a little observation, which, yeah. Anyways, let's actually get into it. 13 minutes into the episode. So yeah, let's get into it. First off, we're gonna start off with the animation and action. Again, kind of like what I've been doing for X-Men. I've been taking into account that this show is not as modern as shows that we usually cover, and even then, like we haven't really covered an animated show. I mean, this is currently one of the oldest things to record on the podcast, but we have never covered a show or like anime from this era specifically. So yeah, I understand the animation quality is not as good as it has been, as it is now. So I'm gonna judge it based on how it looks for the time. And I gotta say, it looks way better than X-Men ever did. For something released in 1986. 1986, almost 40 years ago. This is pretty good animation. Obviously the action, there's not, I was saying there's not a lot of fight scenes. There really isn't. If I had to, like, think about it a lot, there really are not a lot of action sequences. but the ones there are, I think, are animated pretty well. Honestly, they are. It's this show did release weekly. I was about to say it's not a Saturday morning cartoon, but it did release weekly. I'm not looking up the fucking calendar for for March 1986. But yeah, it did release weekly, and that was throughout the entire show. The entire show was released weekly with some off days here and there. But it was really it was a thing. So yeah, I think that the show looks really good for what it is. Uh, I mean, it was probably one. I think probably by this time, Dragon Ball is probably a very big a very big manga. Why say it like that? Manga by the time it's released. So having like some level of decent budget is expected. But yeah, yeah, no, but this show looks really good. Like for its time, it looks really good, and I think better than a show that I've covered, like X-Men that I've also covered. That's from the '90s. This show looks way better. The action, there's not a lot of it, but I feel like it's actually good and doesn't. I don't think it really needs. I mean, I think it does really need it. It's an action-oriented show, but I do like it. I think it's really cool. Especially like I mean, eventually I'm gonna get to like this. Eventually, I know that when eventually this part of the episode, the action part of the episode, animation, is gonna get like uber fucking long when they get to like Z, or even like later into this show by itself. Um. Yeah. Just I know this thing is super long, but right now there's only like a few really big fight scenes here. I would say that the biggest fight scene that we see here is Goku versus Yamcha. At least, right? Yeah. They fight. That's like the biggest thing here. And I think it looks really. I think it actually looks cool. And obviously like all like the super, like the super. I don't know, like the very powerful attacks, like the Kamehameha, looks good. I feel like the power behind it. So yeah, like I think it. Yeah, I think it looks cool. I think the show does a really good job with the animation and the action. And but yeah, we haven't had like a crazy action sequence. But I'm not gonna judge the show based on like what what Dragon Ball Z is like. What I think Dragon Ball Z or like Dragon Ball is just like in general. Obviously, I have like for me, I have an idea of what Dragon Ball is because I've had people around me that have really enjoyed it, and I've never gotten into it, and now I am. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna get fully into it, but I'll definitely know what the hype is about if now that I'm doing this. So yeah, I mean, cool. It's cool that I'm actually being able to do this, but yeah, no. Like I said, the animation and action is going back to what I was saying. The animation and action are good. So let's talk about the characters. First up, Goku. Fucking hell, did not think I would ever say that in podcast history. I mean, eventually we'd have to get the Dragon Ball, but yeah, Goku, Son Goku. He's fun in this show. He's not the okay. Fine. He is the I want to fight. And, like I heard you're pretty strong. Like he does say that, but he's not like the adult Goku that most people really know. He is the child Goku, and he's a lot more innocent and stuff, and that's something a big part of his character. Is his innocence in some way, and like I guess naivety would also be a part of it. And how like how distant he is from like the rest of society and all that. Like that is a big part of what this character is, and also training to become better after his grandpa died. Which is it Gohan? Yeah. Yes. Which is a name I've heard before. I recognize that name. But yeah, I like what the show is doing of Goku, and at least how they're presenting him, and we're gonna see him grow into like the version that everyone has in their minds. That's I mean expect I mean yeah, this is adapting like the first half of like at least like the first third of the manga that it's based on. So yeah, no, I actually like Goku's character a lot here. And yeah, no. There's not much more to say here. And he does, and I like how he doesn't really care about the Dragon Balls all that much, and like making a wish to Shenron. It's mostly just him wanting to get. I mean, I think he kind of does want a wish, maybe. Join her fun Avenger. Okay, yeah. He doesn't really care about her about that, but he's still sort of there just to kind of have an adventure and maybe become stronger on the way. And he does come across a very large list of characters. So yeah, no. I don't know. Let's just move on from Goku. I think Goku is a fun character right now. I don't find him annoying. I think a lot of people. I don't know. I don't know how about the consensus is around a kid Goku, but I don't find him annoying. He's just naive, and he's just like a child. You can't. I don't think it's all that like I don't think it's all that bad. It's not. He's acting like a child would, and also kind of keeps the mystery like around like what he has like a mystery around him like what he really is. Obviously, I know, I know he's a Saiyan. It's not really it's not really a big mystery, but at least to me. But the show's playing it off like what is Goku? Why does he have a tail? And all that. Why at the end? Why does he turn into a big monkey monster? So yeah, it sort of keeps that there, but it has that mystery which I do like, and we're gonna probably see that a lot more as the show goes on. So yeah, so let's move on from Goku to Bulma. Bulma was a fun character. Okay. I like Bulma. I like Bulma a lot, but I don't know what I mean. Let me just see what I can say. Contrary to everyone's fucking character in the anime, I like Bulma's personality here, where she's trying to present herself as like much more, I guess, calm than she really is. She's very impulsive, and also, tries to get to get a boyfriend. Also, that's something I actually like about Bulma, and we're gonna talk about Yamcha eventually. But what I like about Bulma and also like part of her arc really is that she wants something very trivial from Shenron, which is to have a boyfriend. And I like how that's something I picked up really early. That's a very, I don't know, mundane thing to ask for, and something that will probably like eventually set up or later that Bulma doesn't need the Dragon Balls to find that sort of stuff. So I like that, and something that is explored later on the line. So yeah, no, I like that about Bulma and how I think that's like very much played around with in the show. How much she that's something that's like say the day one like first episode about Bulma, and like and just everyone gets immediately turned off because she's just t- terrible to be around, or at least like everyone thinks she's terrible to be around. But you know, I think Bulma's a fun enough character to watch, and and you know see how other she interacts with other characters and stuff. You know, it adds to the comedy because I gotta say, the comedy with Bulma kind of being very impulsive and stuff. I think it's funny. I think it is funny, and yeah. So yeah, that's all I can say about Bulma. Really, we're gonna see more of her definitely in season 2, where we see her and Yamcha, you know, be together and maybe explore more her what the wish really was. So yeah, well, but that's something that the show could definitely go in a direction. Again, I don't know. I've not watched season 2, but it's definitely a direction the show can go in. A character that I don't know if I didn't like is Oolong. So I gotta say, I'm not the biggest fan of pervy jokes, and Oolong is just that. He's just that. It it's not the funniest thing ever to put it bluntly. It's not my type of comedy. I don't find those type of jokes all that funny. So most of the comedy with Oolong is just that. The one joke I can really say is funny is the one at the end where he asked Shenron for a pair of panties. That's because it's such a stupid fucking thing to ask for. That it actually kind of works in the favor of them because it stops Emperor Pilaf from just taking over the world. That's like the one thing that's actually kind of funny, and like also fucking the toilet humor of him with the fucking diarrhea. Like that's like the extent of I guess funny like humor that comes from him, but everything to do with like the pervy jokes. Not my tempo. Not my tempo. But aside from that, yeah, no. Oolong is what I like about the things I do like about Oolong's character is that like I like how much of a coward he is, and that's shown in his introduction episode and carried on throughout the entire series, like that is entire season. That he's a coward and runs away at the first sight, but then he realizes, oh no, wait, I'm gonna shit my fucking pants if I run away. So he stays around. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about Oolong. He's just the pervy side of his comedy. I'm not really a big fan of. Everything else I can tolerate. He's sort of my least favorite character right now because of that. So yeah. Next up is Yamcha and Puar. I like Yamcha actually. And Puar doesn't really do much. He's mostly there as like, I guess just kind of there to do some things. But Yamcha is like the real character here. And what I gotta say is that I think Yamcha is an interesting character that we can further explore. Uh, so Yamcha, I like sort of like how he's scared of girls, and that eventually actually leads him to sort of get away that fear, and he wants Shenron again. It's kind of trivial, kind of like Bulma, where he wants Shenron to, he wants to wish for Shenron so he can, uh, like take away the fear, but instead, but instead he sort of he gets around that fear on his own. With Bulma, like they serve their own characters, and honestly, that's probably we're gonna see more of that in season 2, at least in the next saga. So appreciate that. And yeah, no, that's really gotta say. I like how also Yamcha is kind of show offy, and how much he like kind of tries to think of something as like kind of try just to give himself a perfect image after he gets his tooth knocked out. He doesn't really care about that, but he does get his tooth knocked out. It's kind of and like he stops thinking. He stopped. He doesn't really mention it aside from that, but he thinks it's a big deal at first. So, but yeah, no, I think Yamcha is a character with a lot of potential, and I think he's one of the characters that that's like recognized, like obviously the Yamcha death pose. That's a big. I know it's a big meme in the Dragon Ball community. So, yeah, no, he's definitely. So it's cool to see such a nice important character introduced early, but so is Bulma, a very important character introduced pretty early. And I don't have her here, but Chi Chi's also introduced here, but she doesn't really do much, which is why I didn't put her here. She's in one episode. She just set up that she's gonna eventually marry Goku, which I know it does happen. But yeah, that's about all of Chi Chi's entire involvement. Let's move on to some minor characters here. Master Roshi or Muten Roshi. Um, Again, like I said, I'm not a big pervy joke fan, and that's entirely Master Roshi's comedy. Aside from the fact that he goes from this like frail old man to being really buff and taking and just obliterating a mountain if a Kamehameha. I didn't think they introduced the Kamehameha this early. Thought that was more of a C thing, but yeah, it's in here. I'm never calling it the Kamehameha unless it's, for example, like right there, it's Kamehameha, and you cannot say it's not. I'm sorry, it is the only correct pronunciation of that. Kamehameha is a fucking disaster of a. It is a genuine crime to call it the Kamehameha. I don't care. I don't care if you think it's right. It's not. It's not. But yeah. Again, like I said, I don't like a bunch of those privy jokes, and that's all Masaroshi really is. So he's not my favorite character right now. I know he's pretty beloved, but I think the real goofiness just kind of comes that he does all he wants, and how ridiculous his requests are. And now everyone's like, and at least everyone's like, you're a piece of fucking shit, and so is Oolong. So at least it's not, you know, it's actually just a good thing. But yeah, it's not my favorite type of joke. So Master Roshi, I know he's pretty beloved, but I gotta see more of him, at least. Next up is Shu and Mai. These are some very minor antagonists here. They're just henchmen. Honestly, I don't really care about them all that much. I think was it is it my like a semi important character if I'm not mistaken, or am I being genuinely stupid? Uh huh. Pilaf gang. Uh, and of course, okay. Oh, okay. So they're just kind of there. I didn't. No. Okay. Okay. Yes. I'm just looking at this. They're not that important, but they do show up later on the line, which is cool, I guess. But yeah, like they don't do much aside from getting to wacky hijinks uh, at some points. So yeah, no. Aside from that, they don't really do much, and that's like a big complaint of mine for the specific season. That there's not a lot of these villains, especially the next character, Emperor Pilaf. I think Emperor Pilaf is a character that doesn't really show up throughout the entire season, but he is definitely he's the main villain. It's called the Emperor Pilaf Saga for a reason. He is the main villain, and he just wants world domination. I feel like I still feel like we should have seen more of him. I don't mind just villains being pretty plain, pretty simple, especially for the first villain in the entire manga. I don't think it's that bad. That it's just kind of somebody very basic. I just wish we saw more of him before we got the final confrontation in the season finale, or at least the saga finale. I should call it saga, the saga finale instead. So you know, it's what I gotta say about Emperor Pilaf. I just wish we saw more of him. I did like what we saw of him, and sort of how childish he is for somebody trying to rule the world. But yeah, no, that's really all I gotta say about him. He, there's not much there. I just wish we saw more of him as an actual character. So I'm just kind of here and there. Like I need Dragon Balls. Have you guys gotten the Dragon Balls? No, fuck you, man. Get me the Dragon Balls. That's really all he does for the entire show. And doesn't do anything. So yeah. And moving on to the plot. Something that something like one of my big problems is here. So something I like is the world building. I think it's interesting. There's so many like different things. It's definitely a fantasy world. Duh. But I like just all of different things of the show and how these like different supernatural things interact with the world. That's something cool to see here. Something that I don't, and yeah, so that's a really big pro for the plot, and a con. Some problems I have. So I feel like this specific season is very slow. It is slow as shit. Like it did not need to be this long, man. It really didn't. Um. Uh. What was I gonna say? They just the series just didn't need to be this long. They could have trimmed it out a little, and especially because some of the I guess sub arcs of I guess like the weekly I guess villain of the week type format here. It sometimes it got repetitive at a point. Not like legitimately one of the episodes reused something from earlier like there was an episode where we have like a rabbit gang, and I like how they kind of set that up and how they used like Bulma's rabbit bunny girl costume, which she gets like at the half point of the series to At least to use it other than just, I guess, fan service in a way. I used to use it for something else other than that. So I appreciate that, but it's legitimately just a copy paste from the Oolong episode. So yeah, I don't. I don't. I don't think it needed this much, especially throughout like the last few episodes. Like it just kind of like we spent like 3 episodes in that fuck ass castle. So yeah, doing almost nothing until like the finale, and that was it. But yeah, I don't know. I think the show is really slow, and again, I don't like the comedy all that much. I think everything that's in like the pervy jokes, I think is fine. And yeah, I just think that some of it was rather unnecessary, and didn't and just I don't know didn't really need to to be here, and not a lot of repetitive like take away a lot of the repetitiveness and a lot of like just the uh the the slowness, like tighten up the pace a little, keep it rolling a little, I could have done with less here. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good start for the show overall. It has strong characters, I feel, a strong protagonist, strong supporting characters. Maybe work on the jokes. I know this is an 80s anime, but maybe work on the maybe we could do with less pervy jokes. But aside from that, I think the comedy is overall fine. I like the world, but I think it just needs a little bit more uniqueness in the plot section. And that's why I'm gonna give it a B tier. And yes, I'm re-ending the episode. Fuck you. I'm gonna give it a B tier for now, at least. So, this is the start of my Dragon Ball, and this is gonna take a really long time. This is gonna take a really long time to get through. I know. This hopefully, if I can catch up with all the episodes, the season 2 episodes should come out this month. It seems like, at least I've planned it out a little. It seems like a lot of the episodes will be coming out kind of periodically. Sometimes it'll take a month break, and sometimes it won't. It'll be a weird schedule, but will at least be done at some point in 2026 with Dragon Ball. So yeah, you have that to look forward to. But yeah, that's really about it. This is the start Dragon Ball. A big series is upon us on Media Faye. A lot of anime, a lot of anime. What did you guys think of the first saga of Dragon Ball? Leave in the comments below. All of our socials in the description. If you're on Spotify and want to stay updated with our content, you can follow us. And if you feel inclined to give us your feedback, rate us if you like or dislike us. Alright, if you're on YouTube and want to do the same, you can subscribe. And and for feedback, you can like or dislike the episode, whatever you want, really. And you can share around because we're sharing. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.